character qualities to being a Hall of Famer in everyday life, whether it's in your classroom, whether it's at home, whether it's at work, whether it's at your church or youth organization or whatever, whoever you might be affiliated with. These are character qualities that allow you to be successful in all areas of your life. And you have an example of one here today, someone who's been successful on and off the field. And you guys got the opportunity, the awesome opportunity to ask Mr. Taylor questions like what adversity he had faced and what recommendations does he have for young people nowadays, because he spent a lot of time in coaching as well. So he worked with a lot of young athletes being 21, 22, 23 years old, and the decisions that they face in life, obstacles that they face in life. So not only did he face them himself, but he helped mentor others as well, being a coach for a number of years with the Redskins. But to make this possible, it took a team of folks to make it possible, and I'd like to thank those. As first and foremost, we have to thank our friends. This program is being powered by Extreme Networks, new education partner to our education team. Awesome organization. They specialize in wired and wireless technologies and work with school districts all across the country. So Greg Gilman, Brian Hudgens, some of the other folks there that helped make this possible. Thank you very much. I think Greg even served as a chauffeur this morning to make sure Mr. Taylor got to the site okay, since it was a little bit further away than we had anticipated. So thank you, Greg, for all your work in making this possible. And then we have to really especially thank the gracious hosts there. IDEA, public charter school there in Washington, D.C. I know Kester Gregorio, who's the IT person who's been working with me the last few days to test and do all those things. It's been awesome to work with, so thank you, Gregorio. And I think it's the assistant principal there, Justin Rydstrom. Thank you very much for all your work and opening up your doors and being a gracious host here today for Mr. Taylor. We greatly appreciate it, and we're really looking forward to the rest of the program. We have to thank the teachers, because the teachers are the ones that made all the sacrifice. They made the arrangements and got students out of class to come in their labs or their buildings and their rooms to set this up, prepare the kids, the youth, I shouldn't even say kids, there's young adults here as well. Did the preparatory materials, the lesson plans and things like that. And lastly, but definitely not least, we have to thank the students, because the students are the ones that are the stars of the show here today. They're going to be ones that are driving the program. I'll finish up with a few more remarks here, and we'll ask Mr. Taylor to have some opening remarks about character here in just a minute. But the rest of the program is really going to feed off the Q&A that you guys have for Mr. Taylor. But I would like to recognize those schools, first of all, so everyone can see where everyone's tuning in from, because we've got some schools from across the country. And Mr. Taylor, I'll ask you to plug your ears for a minute, because what I'm going to have the students do there is when I call upon your school, feel free to give a shout out. And Mr. Taylor is flanked by some students from Washington, D.C. at IDEA Public Charter School. So IDEA Public Charter, do you guys want to make some noise there? Give a little shout out for your school? Go ahead. Okay, thank you very much. And I don't think I have to remind you guys, but I will anyways, but you guys have been awesome already. Obviously, your microphone's going to be live the whole time, so Mr. Taylor can give his remarks. We need absolute silence in the background, which we have been. So I wasn't scolding you guys by any means. You've been awesome so far, so thank you very much. We need to go to, we're going to go to Wisconsin, to Westfield Middle School. Go ahead. Westfield! All right, thank you, Westfield. Very good. We are going to go to here in Ohio, Newark, Ohio, Newark Digital Academy. If you want to give a shout out, go ahead.
Woo! Go Browns!
Wow, one person I think cheated. Can we try that again? Newark, try it again.
Woo! Yeah, go Newark! Woo!
Go Newark. 1 person clap. All right, we'll work on that, Newark. Thank you very much. Go ahead and mute there. And last but definitely not least, we're going to go to Minnesota, at Cutbank, Minnesota, Cutbank Public Schools. If you want to mute there, go ahead.
Woo!
Thank you, Cutbank. We appreciate it. We appreciate everyone tuning in here today. And a reminder to everyone just to make sure to keep your microphones muted until we call upon your school. So with that being said, what I would like to do is get into the introduction of our featured speaker, and that's Pro Football Hall of Famer, Mr. Charley Taylor. Charley Taylor's pass receiving credentials accumulated in 13 seasons from 1964 to 1977 with the Washington Redskins are legendary. His 649 receptions for 9,110 yards and 79 touchdowns rank him among the game's elite. He led the National Football League in receiving in both 1966 and 1967, his first 2 years as a wide receiver, and caught more than 50 passes in a record-tying 7 campaigns. with 1,488 rushing yards. I said rushing yards. Here, you get here in just a minute. And a smattering of kick return yardage, he amassed 10,803 combined net yards to also rank among the best in the category. With 11 touchdowns rushing and 79 on receptions, Charley scored 540 points throughout his career. Taylor's pro football future was assured from his first day in camp in 1964 as the #1 draft choice from Arizona State. The 6'3", 210-pounder, so this is back in the 60s, mind you. 6'3", 210-pounder is still, you got the freaks in the NFL like Calvin Johnson, but 6'3", 210 is still a pretty good size receiver in today's standards. So just imagine it back in those days. 6'3", 210-pounder won Rookie of the Year acclaim as a running back, and became the first rookie in 20 years to finish in the NFL's top 10 in both rushing and receiving. His 53 receptions were a record for running backs at that time. Although still rated as a premier ball carrier, Taylor was switched to split end in the 7th game of his 3rd season in 1966. He wound up that year as the NFL receiving champion with 72 receptions. So just think about it. He made the transition and became elite just at his position, at both positions. Charley was a gold-carrot fixture at the position for the next 9 seasons through 1975. He set out the entire 1976 campaign with injuries and then returned for a final shot in 1977. Taylor was an all-Western Athletic Conference halfback at Arizona State. Following his senior season, he played in the East-West Shrine, the Hula Game, the All-American Bowl, and the College College All-Star Game. As a Redskin, he earned first or second team All-American, All-NFL honors and was selected to play in 8 Pro Bowls. Now, before I ask Mr. Taylor for his opening remarks, what I would like to do is I'm going to share the screen here, and we're going to see a quick video of him.
An 8-time Pro Bowler, the Washington Redskins' Charley Taylor began his career as a running back. In 1966, Redskins coach Otto Graham switched the 6'3" Taylor to wide receiver to utilize his height. At 210 pounds, Taylor had the size and strength to catch the ball in traffic. When he retired in 1977, Taylor was the NFL's all-time leader with 649 pass receptions.
Okay, if all the schools want to unmute your mics for a second and join me in giving a warm round of applause to Pro Football Hall of Famer, Mr. Charley Taylor. And we'll ask all the schools, go ahead and mute your microphones, and Mr. Taylor, the microphone's yours for any opening remarks you'd like to share.
I have to say that I have 3 children, 3 kids. My wife is a 6th grade school teacher, believe it or not. And I'm just honored to be here with you guys and to give you a little information that I might have that you might need or want. Can use and
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Taylor, and we'll go ahead and get started with the questions. And Mr. Taylor, I'll ask you if we can just speak up just a little louder. I was having a little trouble hearing that. It's just no fault of your own. It's the technology, so just a little bit louder would be greatly appreciated. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the order, just so the students know. We're going to go in the order of Idea Public Charter School, Westfield, Newark, and then Cut Bank. And we're going to go in that order, and we'll rotate through as many times as we can throughout the day. For the next, looks like we have about 45 minutes to ask those questions that you guys have. Now, again, I want to remind you guys, think about this. There have been 25,000 players that have played in the National Football League since it started in 1920 here in Canton, Ohio, one of the reasons why the Hall of Fame's here. But since that time, there are only 287 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So think about that. That is a very, very, very elite number. So if you think of all the star wide receivers today, whether you're a fan of, Calvin Johnson or, whoever it is that you're a fan of, I'm kind of partial as a Redskins guy. We have a guy from my alma mater, University of Mountain Union. We have a guy named Pierre Garcon is the receiver there. So from a little Division III school. So I'm a little partial with him as well, and a great wide receiver. But just to think about that, those guys aspire to be in Mr. Taylor's shoes someday, and not only on the field, but I'd imagine off the field as well. So you guys have the opportunity to ask someone that these stars that you see in the NFL want to be, that gold jacket that he has on, they hope to have that someday. They are gunning to be in Mr. Taylor's shoes. That's the pedestal that they want to be on someday, is have that bronze jacket on them. So you have the opportunity to ask someone those kind of questions here today. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we'll go to Idea Public Charter School. Go ahead with the first question, and Idea, just make sure to project loud enough so we can hear you. If not, I'll ask you to repeat the question.
Yeah,
my question is, what character qualities do you believe it takes to be a Hall of Fame player?
Yep, heard that just fine.
Okay.
What character qualities do you believe it takes to be a Hall of Fame player?
Just be true. Be truthful if you can. Keep your word. Your teammates will figure this out if you're for real or if you're phony. So what you have to do, day one, meet you guys. I came to Washington. I knew nothing about the Redskins, but I came to Washington, and I gave myself a couple of days before I picked guys I wanted to hang out with. And the first guy that crossed my mind was Bobby Mitchell, who had just gotten here. And I sort of followed Bobby around for 2 months. I was just finding my way around D.C. But in order for me to be effective here, I had to be truthful, and I had to work hard. And that's about what it's going to take, just being truthful. Keep your word. If you say you're going to be there for, be there for. Think about it and say, I just can't make it because of the bad group. But just keep your word. Keep your word. Show that you have passion for what you're doing. And you'll be all right.
Okay, thank you very much. And Kester, we're just having a little bit of problems hearing a little bit. I did keep the word true to yourself. We did catch most of it. It's just it's maybe I don't know if we can turn the sensitivity of the microphone up a little bit, or maybe Charlie will just have you project a little louder. So my apologies for that. It's just a technology. I'll have you shouting by the end of this, Charlie. So
I know.
So thank you very much. We appreciate it. Great question to start off the program there, Idea Charter School. Let's go to Westfield, Wisconsin. If you want to go ahead with your question, if you want to unmute there.
What pillars of character affected or influenced you to play football, and why?
Did you catch that, Charlie?
Not really.
Okay, I believe I heard, what pillar of character helped affect you as a football player, and why?
Just getting along with my teammates. They have to have faith in me and trust in me, and I'm going to do what I say, and that's it. Like I said, just keep your word. Don't lie.
Okay, thank you very much. A great question there, Westfield. So again, to reiterate, we're talking about keeping your word and being true to yourself. So the two things that obviously trustworthiness falls into play there. So let's go to Newark, Ohio.
Would you encourage or discourage a young man to play football today?
And I had trouble hearing that. If you could speak a little louder.
Would you encourage or discourage a young man to play football today?
Okay. Would you encourage or discourage a young man playing football today, Mr. Taylor?
That depends on the individual. I have a son, and he chose not to play. He played in college and he was pretty good. And we sit and talk, and he just didn't want to go into the pro. It would have been a load on his back, but he just told me that I don't want to play anymore. So I would say, hey, if you don't have a passion for it, go where your passion lies.
And Mr. Taylor, if you can share, where does his passion lie? What was his what direction did your son go?
He's with American Airlines right now, down in Texas.
Great. Thank you.
Matter of fact, I'm from Texas myself, born and raised in a place called Grand Prairie, Texas.
Yep.
That's between Dallas and Fort Worth. And I thought I was going to the Cowboys. Really, I did. Because we had met a couple of times, and I talked to Tom Landry. And I was like, boom, right in my backyard, I'm going to be okay, you know. And my roommate woke me up for college at Arizona State. He was like, hey, wake up, man, they drafted you. Wake up, wake up. I go, who drafted you? The Redskins. I go, huh? You know, I went to Seattle. That's where I thought I was going, but they weren't even there yet. But once I realized I was in Washington, and they came to me and made me a great offer, and told me I would be with Bobby Mitchell and Sonny Jurgensen and those kind of guys. I go, I think I'll go to Washington. So I arrived here, like I said, not knowing how to get around town at all. But I lived out this way, I believe, my first few years. And so I get to arcade. But just be true to yourself and work hard. You make it.
Charlie, you mentioned, when you got drafted by the Redskins, that was in the 1960s. The Redskins were actually, these students probably don't know, but the Redskins were actually the last team in the NFL to integrate. So since we're studying Black History Month this month, obviously, the Redskins were the last team to actually get an African-American on that player, and it's the guy that you've mentioned a couple times already, Bobby Mitchell. Can you share a little bit about that, some of the things that you dealt with at that time?
Oh, man. Bobby had to calm me down because we played preseason games down in North Carolina, and they played Dixon before the game. I'm going, Bobby, what's happening here? You know what's going on? Here you go. It's cool. It's hard to deal. Don't even worry about it. And I'm just glad that they brought me in here to be around guys like Mitchell and Sonny and guys like that. Sam Huff, those kind of guys. And then to work later on in my career with Joe Gibbs and to get to coach Art Monk, Gary Clark, Ricky Sanders, those kind of guys. And, you just have to have a passion. Like I said. And the one thing I told my guys was when I worked with guys, they'd always come, look, I was hoping I could do this. I go, you open this play. Don't tell me you open this play. I want you to open this play. And I had to give in to some of their ideas to let you know that I trusted them. So just apply yourself, work hard.
Okay.
Be true to yourself.
Thank
and
you.
Everybody help you. Just tell them where you want to go. They'll probably help. Maybe someone can help you.
Let's go ahead and go from Newark. Let's go to Cut Bank, Minnesota. And again, make sure to project clearly and loudly into the microphone. At Cut Bank, if you have a question in Minnesota there.
First of all, we're in Montana.
Good. I should have put MT instead of MN, right?
Who is the toughest player you ever played against in the NFL?
I just got played against in the NFL. The toughest player. The toughest player. Oh, I would say Lem Barney, Detroit Lions, greatest. And well, there were a couple boys with the Raiders were pretty good, but Lem Barney was by far, and Mel Renfro from Dallas was a tough cornerback to play against. Just the Pittsburgh Steelers, they were good. Yeah, all those tough guys, which you can't even use it nowadays.
Newark, I apologize. I skipped right over you guys. I thought you guys asked the last question. I'm messing up all over the place here today. So let's go to Newark, Ohio. My apologies for skipping right over you guys. Newark, I think you have your microphones muted.
Sorry.
Did you ever see some of Coach Gibbs' race cars?
Did I ever do some Coach Gibbs race car? No, I'm familiar with the NASCAR stuff. I get, was I correct on that Joe Gibbs race car?
Yeah, I think you wanted to know if you ever rode in one of Joe Gibbs race cars.
Oh, no. No, hey, I know Coach well, and he probably let me drive one if I asked him, but those things at 200 miles an hour, I'm not ready for that. I'm too old to get in those kind of cars.
We just wanted to bring a little levity, that's all.
Thank you, Newark. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Before we go back to idea, one of the things that we encounter quite a bit, and you kind of touch on this already, Mr. Taylor, is it's students. They have a lot of peer pressure in their life, obviously, but sometimes most of the time, when we think of peer pressure, we think of it as a negative thing. It's a bad peer pressure. Hey, I'm going to try and get you to do this, or do this drug, or do this crime, or do something bad. There is also positive peer pressure as well. And one of the things that I found out with our Hall of Famers is, in order for them to achieve greatness, they have surrounded themselves with greatness. Would you say that's the case with you, Mr. Taylor?
Absolutely, because you want to walk with the big guys, you have to act like the big guys and be around the big guys, because those are guys that are where you are headed, the direction you're going, the direction you want to go. And without being like Jim Brown and those kind of guys, it wouldn't have been anything. I had to show my passion that I love this game. I want to be better than you, Mr. Brown. Even though I gave him respect, I played in a couple of Pro Bowls with him, and being in the backfield with Jim Brown. Come on, I'm like, I don't belong here, do I? But I'm here. That was the whole thing. I'm here. And Jim could see that I loved what I was doing, loved the game, and was elated to be in the backfield with him. So.
And students, I hope you hear this over and over again through what he's saying. He keeps bringing it up, and I think it's great. He's talking about his passion, his passion for the game. And that's what's great, is when we combine something we're passionate about with a career, whether it's football, whether it's working in American Airlines like his son, or whether it's working at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, or whether it's being a school teacher, whatever it might be, finding that passion to do those things and trying to do a job. I mean, it really doesn't seem like a job to you. And Mr. Taylor, I'm sure you can share that playing football wasn't necessarily a job to you all the time. Am I correct? If you were playing with passion?
Oh, you're so correct there. You're so correct. And what really motivated me a little bit more is those 100,000 people sitting up in the stand, because I got my thrills when they got their thrills. When they got loud and rowdy, then I knew I was doing something great.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to the top again. We got through every school, and we'll go through again. Idea public charter. If you want to go ahead and ask a question there, great first question to start off the program. Let's get another one.
As a child, what events in your life do you believe helped shape you into the man you are today?
Not hard. I'm just thinking to you, when I go to that part, I think about the lady that was there. It kind of warmed me up a little bit. I tell you what, growing up as a kid in Texas, everything was not kosher during my youth years. So I had to take a different way. It's so happy I came from a large family. I had uncles, tons of uncles and aunts. I mean, there must have been 20 of them. And they all were like doing something great. Come on, man. Uncle Earl, I got he's the best baseball player, so I had to go out and play on this team, that type of thing. So it was my family, first of all, standard they set. And the standard they set, we had to maintain it. Right? It was my time. That's about it. And it didn't come easy, but I got it done. And they called me Little Taylor. So
Thank you very much. Was there any specific situation or specific incident that you faced in your young childhood that maybe changed the way you think of things, or a certain obstacle or barrier that you think that you faced during that time that helped really shape you? Like one moment. I know I'm asking, make you think for a second here.
Yeah. You going back? Well, I can sort of throw this at you. Is that growing up in Texas and Texas high school sports, some of the toughest in the country. So if you had any type of ability to perform, your teammates let you know that you could play, and your coaches let you know you could play, and also the tournament. Now, where the problem came in is that Friday night in Texas, when they turned the lights on and mom and dad wasn't there. That was tough. I said it would work. So.
Great. Thank you very much, Idea. Let's go to Westfield, Wisconsin. Westfield Middle School. Go ahead with your question.
Responsibilities did you have on your football teams?
Oh, can you speak up a little louder?
What responsibilities did you have on your football teams?
Did you get that, Charlie?
Okay.
What
type of abilities?
Responsibility.
Responsibility. Oh, well, it wasn't until my third year in the game that they elected me captain, one of the captains. And I had to make a decision on guys who broke some of the rules, whether they played or not, or whether they suited up or not. Because our coaching staff would come to the captain and ask us, what do you guys think about Larry Brown, Roy Jefferson, Sonny Jervis? They would want to get our opinion on the punishment, first of all, and do we like to have a game? And normally it didn't happen again. We just, played through it and went next week.
Thank you very much. Let's go from Wisconsin to Newark, Ohio, Newark Digital Academy. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. We had a question. Seeing as how the Redskins were the final team to integrate in the league, did you face any difficulty being a member of the Redskins right at the tail end of that integration movement in the league?
No, not really. No. You just have to know how to move and which way to move, and that's what I learned from Bobby. Bobby had been there for 2 years before I got here, and he knew he didn't go to Leesburg, on Friday night. You stayed in D.C. So there's little things like that. You just put yourself in harm's way. You try to carry yourself as straight as you possibly could because, you see what's happening to some of these guys. They're not thinking. They're just acting, reacting, you say. And that's why they're getting in trouble left and right without even any cause or thought behind it. They're just doing stuff. You have to think your way through. I know this is wrong. If you know it's wrong, don't do it. That's what it's at.
That is pretty simple.
You can't talk to all of them. You try to, but you just can't.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great question there, Newark. And if I can do a follow-up to that, Mr. Taylor, can you talk about when you played during the 60s? The other thing that people don't realize is that you guys had to travel. So you would have been traveling to other parts of the country, some that may have been a little bit more hostile towards African Americans. Can you talk a little bit about that, or maybe a little story or anything that you can share?
Well, I tell you, we played our preseason games in Miami, North Carolina, and there we go. And I'd never heard this in my life till I got here. So, wait a minute, that's not the right tune. So I asked Bobby, what is this, man? What's going on? He goes, it's cool, don't worry about it. Sure enough, 5 minutes, it's over with. We got doing what we do, just put it on the back, let it go on by itself.
So I he keeps referring to Bobby Mitchell, and I think this is. I think this is
man, Bobby's pointing me in the right direction, and that's what I say. You got to make sure you choose your company the right way. And everybody you know is going to be angels. No, hey, come on, that ain't real. It's the ones you do choose. Can turn on and turn it off. Yes, I can do. Yes, I like to do this. No, and when they say no. It's easy.
And Charlie, the reason why I say that is I think that's an awesome example of. Would you say that Bobby? From the sounds of it, I would say that he was a mentor to you through your early NFL years. Is that correct in saying that?
Oh, absolutely, you're correct. And I also got on the phone talking to Baltimore coach, What was it, 24? For the coach, 24.
24 for the coach.
24 for the coach.
24 for the coach.
Yeah. Okay. And we just crossed the street over here then. He was running back and he was a receiver. He had done the same thing.
I'll give you a hint. Last name Moore, first name Lenny. Is that who you're talking about?
Wait, say it one more time. Well, come from you. It was Lenny Moore, right?
Yes.
He did the same. He had to go through the same thing I'm going through. Running back for a couple of years, moved me outside. And when they moved me outside, I tell you, I was really afraid. Because I'm thinking, I'm no wide receiver. Come on. I never ran around in my life. You know, so now I had to look around. And I found guys. Lucky I had Bobby right there next door. So I chewed his mind. I wore him out. Man. But, you know, running around, that's how you run a post corner, a corner post, an end. And, you know, I swear that was my approach to learn how to play wide receiver. Plus, I had a good quarterback in Sonny Jefferson. Who sort of made it a little bit easier. Yeah.
A Hall of Fame quarterback in that. And the reason why I bring that up, students, is to focus in on that, because you've heard him mention that name a number of times. And that's the reason why I point that out to you is that, you know, again, surrounding yourselves with positive influences, but, you know, finding a mentor, you know, and being willing to ask that mentor for help. And students, you sit in classrooms right now with a number of folks that are around you, i.e. your teachers, your principals, parents, or whatnot, that want to help you get better in whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's in science, whether it's in math, whether it's in football, whatever it might be. And like Mr. Taylor, like what he did on the gridiron, on the field, is, you know, seeking advice from those that maybe have more wisdom than he does. And Bobby Mitchell was one of those. And not only seeking advice on the field of how to run routes and things like that, switching from running back to halfback, but also, as you heard him talk about, is the off-the-field issues that he was encountered, where Mr. Taylor might get a little fired up and you know, Bobby's, okay, just calm down, it'll blow over, let's just, you know, settle back, and just having that wisdom there. Because if he didn't, you know, he might have got himself in trouble.
That's true.
So with that, let's go from, let's see, that was Westfield. Let's go to, no, that was Newark that did last. Cutbank?
Beautiful, Henry.
Is football what you wanted to do when you were younger?
Is football what I wanted to do
When you were younger.
when I was younger? No. I'm glad you asked that question. I wanted to be a Marine. That was my first choice in life. You are going to be a Marine. I had two uncles that were Marines, and when they came home with those shiny boots and driving the 57 Chevy, that was me. And I was going to be a Marine. But all that changed.
Awesome. So any students out there, by show of hands, anybody want to be a Marine someday?
Okay.
I don't know personally.
To me, Marines was it. Yeah.
What I have read and seen is, and from friends that have gone through the Marine Corps and boot camp and whatnot, it's no joke. And that brings up a great point, though, with a Marine or whether it's a pro football player. You know, what you guys see on TV, you know, you see the glory element of being a pro football player. You see Sunday, you see Monday night, you see them performing in front of big crowds. But what you guys don't see is the Monday through Saturday, the work that they are putting in to achieve that greatness, the studying of game film, the route running, the repetitions, the weightlifting, all those sorts of things. I've always said that students would love to be a pro football player, but wouldn't want to be if they saw what they actually did to get there, because it is that much of a sacrifice. So can you talk about that, about the work ethic it takes, Mr. Taylor, to be in the NFL and how that translates into all areas of life?
Well, you go in for a workout, and about 20 minutes into that workout, your muscle is gone. You're dead. Yeah, it's all over. Just like life, man. You get to a point, you come to 5 years, things are changing. You just got to stop, take a deep breath, and say, all right, let's go. And whichever direction they come back at you, you'll feel better about it. Just like if you've been lifting weights and getting yourself in shape. You'll feel good. When you know you're prepared.
Yep. So, students, preparation is everything. In football, your test that you're taking next week, whatever it might be, preparation, obviously. And what you'll find with our Hall of Famers like Mr. Taylor is that their preparation is I love Vince Lombardi's quote. Vince Lombardi said this. Actually, we did a program with Bart Starr about a month ago, and Bart Starr said Vince Lombardi always said it's the unique preparation. So not just standard preparation, not just what anybody would do, but unique, above and beyond what anyone else would do to prepare for that. So that's something that stood out for me, and what better coach than Vince Lombardi to have a quote from, you know?
I was lucky enough to play 1 year with Coach Lombardi, the year before he passed away. And, man, he just had it. He could be out in the hall and start screaming at the defense down the other end, and you thought it was in your room, you were dropping. He just had that magic about it, but he had a smooth part about him, too. I'm back in Texas during the summer. He gave me a call and said, Taylor, yes, sir. Meet me in Miami. We're doing a commercial. Coach, come on. I know, the coach called you to do a commercial. So we did a rapid shave commercial. He and I said, and I'll cut up after the thing over. You got it done. You got it done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's go. Looks like about a little over 15 minutes left. We should be able to go through one or two more rounds from each school. Idea Public Charter School, if you have a question there, those students that are flanking Mr. Taylor.
Oh, yes. We got a great group here, man.
Good.
How do you feel as an adult that you are continuing to shape your character?
Say it again, man.
How do you feel as an adult that you are continuing to shape your character?
I feel kind of proud of it. I'm gonna tell you why. It's not so much what I'm doing, it's what my kids are doing. Because I love all four of them, and they all four just like you guys. So goodbye, just took it and said, don't worry about that. Just give me the check. So you get them in college, and they all got one daughter's a doctor. One girl works for Drummond. My son works for American. This is, I'm just so proud of that whole group, and did the right thing. I'm sure they messed up sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I mean, especially tickets. Girl, where you going? Your foot is heavy on the head. And you just go speed down the highway, the man stop here, and you go, I get it to Dad. I found a lot of tickets on my address. But it all worked out in the end. And I'm proud of you guys, man. I just found you guys were smoking, man. You reading the lyrics. Look at it, see? You know what I'm talking about, yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. That's good.
Thank you very much, Idea. Let's go to Westfield, Wisconsin.
What character trait do you think that kids today need to work on?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
What character trait do you think that kids today need to work on?
What character trait, I think I caught this, what character trait do you think youth today need to work on? If there's one character trait, whether it's the 6 pillars, trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship, or just another general character trait that you think maybe our youth today maybe lack from what you see of them?
Well, I'm sure every parent in America has their own little get off. And mine is just being truthful. Tell me the truth. If you're truthful with me, then I can trust you, and I can believe in you, and we're on the right track now.
So I take notes, just so you guys know, if you see me writing, I take notes throughout this program, because somebody said about, are you still learning, or what do you learn? I'm 36 years old. I still learn. So I get to do 20 of these a year with our Hall of Famers. So I take notes from what I learned from them as well, and apply them to my life as well. So if you see me writing things down, that's because I'm learning. Let's go and go to Newark, Ohio, Newark Digital Academy.
Can you explain what it means to be a Hall of Famer?
Can I explain what it means? Sure. It means that I had how many guys? 50, 52, 53? It means I had 52 great teammates. It made my job very easy to get me to where I am today. With my stats, the numbers, and whatever it takes you in the hall. I had some great teammates that made my job, and made me make my job very easy.
And think about that, students. He's already mentioned a bunch of them. From Bobby Mitchell, obviously being a mentor to help him with route running. He had the ball delivered to him by a Hall of Fame quarterback named Sonny Jurgensen, who had to be blocked by an offensive line that had to hold up in time and have the time to throw Mr. Taylor the ball. So his point is very true, and I think it speaks to two things about Mr. Taylor. Number one, that obviously it took a team effort, but number two, you notice he didn't say I, what I did. He immediately deflected to the team, and that's just a sign of Mr. Taylor's character, that it's not all about him; it's all about the team. And that's there's something to be said about not only in pro sports being that way, but in life, about things are bigger than just you. In this world, or in this country, or in your school, or in your classroom, or even in your family. Things are bigger than just you. Can you talk a little bit about that, Mr. Taylor, about maybe your philosophy on things like that?
Well, you get around the head. It's hard to be just you, because you're gonna make decisions in life that you might need somebody else's opinion about. So it might be just you to pick out the person you're gonna have. Will help you get over that hump. Now, what I'm saying is, if somebody in your neighborhood, somebody in your family you respect better than all day, could be mom, could be dad, could be brother, sister, or the next door neighbor. It's someone that you will go to in a crisis. That's what you need. Someone to say, hey, it's going to be all right, just do this. And you do it, and it works, and you're off and running.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Cut Bank, Montana. We just changed states completely. Montana. Go ahead.
You guys knew all these people over here? Let's get it go over there.
Go ahead, Cut Bank.
Okay, go. All right. What character trait played a role to help you get into the NFL Hall of Fame?
There again, it boils back to my teammates. So I had to be truthful to those guys and show those guys that I had the ability to play, to be in that position, and they just gave me all the help they could. So that's how I got where I am.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to IDEA, and I think we should have time to go about one more question from each school. IDEA Public Charter. If you have another question, go ahead.
Okay. How do you think the game of football is today compared to when you played?
The game today, to me, it seems better. I like what they're doing out there, and I enjoyed what I did. But these guys, man, they're getting paid millions and millions of dollars, and they're all great athletes. And the game can afford it, and the fans love it. It's great. Okay.
And thinking of, is there a player today, Mr. Taylor, that maybe you know personally, or maybe you've worked with, maybe not even today, maybe when you coached as well, that maybe the students might recognize? Remember, they're younger, so anybody pre-2000, they probably won't even recognize. So, but is there a player today that you see out there that you admire the character qualities that they have, that just by what you see and how they carry themselves?
Well, yeah, the last couple of years been a quarterback here. He's been kid I respect a lot. I think he has a lot of ability. He just needs to be more committed to what he knows work. Just stay with that.
And who is that?
Our quarterback.
Oh, RG3?
RG3.
You were set up a trivia question, weren't you there?
I'm just lucky I had a guy that could throw the ball as good as he can.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Westfield.
If you could go back and change anything, what would it be and why?
Oh, good question. If you could go back and change anything, what would it be and why?
I would change Turkey Day against the Cowboys in '72. Why? Because my mom them threw all that food out the door. Because we had them beat and we lost the game the last quarter. Roger, and, the people over at the house, they threw a plate outside and went home, man. That was a tough day for my family against the Cowboys. 1972, Thanksgiving Day.
So they threw the Thanksgiving turkey out, huh?
They threw it out, man. I'm sure they went back and took a second look, but they threw it out.
Let's go to Newark, Ohio.
They don't believe it, man. Hey. But when we beat them, they would like sit my mom's
I'm so sorry. Did faith play a role in
No,
your?
they were. Texans are crazy people. I don't know. Yeah, they're crazy. They do crazy stuff.
Go ahead, Newark.
I'm sorry. What role did faith play for you in your just in your playing career and even beyond? Or did faith play a role for you in your just for you?
You say faith?
Yes, sir. Faith.
There again, I had three uncles that were ministers. One Baptist, one Methodist, one Holy. Faith was big at all times. And we shared that with not only myself, but my teammates, some of my teammates. So it worked. Yeah. But I had three uncles, and even right today, they're still with us. Right today, I'll go back and we go fishing, and I'll just throw questions at them, like verses out of the Bible, and they get there's three different opinions there. You know, each guy got a different answer, man. We're live ball with them. They're great guys.
Thank you, sir. We believe that that should be one of the traits also that's covered just in the success of just men and women overall. It's just the role that will play in their lives. So we appreciate your answer. Thank you.
I definitely understand what you're saying, big guy. Hey, but so you got to remember who the number one man is, okay? Sure, I did it down here, but how did I do it? He helped me do it.
So again, it's that, and I think his answer to that question earlier kind of reflects his, about it wasn't about him, it's about the team, and that's the same thing. It wasn't about Charley Taylor. It was about what his faith did through Charley Taylor. It really had, in some cases, had nothing to do with Charley Taylor. And so thank you very much. I appreciate that question there, Newark. Cut Bank, Montana.
Eddie, when did you realize you?
You're gonna talk loud.
When did you realize you can go somewhere with football?
When did you realize you can go somewhere with football?
Like to go where? Sorry about that, big guy. I could go. Oh, I guess when did I realize I had the ability to move up to the next level? Good. I was out of Arizona State my sophomore year. Broke my neck in 3 places. Man brought me back again.
Zoom in on Hay. Don't zoom in on.
There we go. All right.
I just muted you guys for a second because you were coming through, so I muted you guys. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Sorry, Charlie.
No, I'm fine. I'm done.
No, we didn't catch the tail end of that because cut in.
You didn't catch the part about what happened at Arizona State.
Oh, I broke my neck in the rim. And I was lucky the doctor did not operate doing that crazy stuff. I mended on my own and was able to play back my junior year. So.
But you think overcoming that obstacle gave you the confidence that, if I can overcome a broken neck, I can overcome anything?
I never looked at it that way. I just wanted to get away and stay away, and it did. The Redskins picked me up, even knowing all that.
Yep. Let's go back to a couple minutes left. We can go to a few more. Idea public charter?
It's unmuted.
I'm muted. What's ready?
I'm unready to play football.
You want me to be honest with you? I hadn't had a day in high school career. So I had one great game. I caught 2 touchdown passes. 3 girls wanted to go out with me. I'm playing football. Yeah, I'm being honest with you, okay? I can't do no more honest than that.
So, you talked about truthfulness. He is being truthful with you guys here today.
My life, you know what I'm talking about?
You know what's funny?
I do. Come on, man.
Mr. Taylor, you're not the first Hall of Famer that has said that. The reason why I think Kellen Winslow said the same thing the one time that he played to get a date. So
yeah, honest.
Thank you very much. Whatever. Let's go Westfield.
Who was the most influential person in your football career, and why were they so influential?
Great question. Did you catch that, Charlie? It was a little quiet. Who is the most influential person in your life, on the field, off the field, whoever it might be?
Oh, I would say my sister.
And
he goes for a while. Yeah. No.
You guys hear that?
I think my sister took over when we lost our mom, and mom was a go-getter, do it. My younger sister just took over her role. And when it comes to making decisions, she can get you together and make everything come out all right.
And how many siblings did you have?
It was 3 girls, 3 boys, 6 of us.
And what age, if you don't mind me asking, what age were you when you lost your mother?
Oh, I was here in Washington, 65, I'm going way back. Been a while.
All right, let's go to Newark.
You mentioned some of your tough competitors, but who was your nemesis?
Who is your nemesis?
I don't have one. I don't fear anybody. Come on. I can say it now. I got place.
It doesn't sound like he had one.
Well, let's ask this.
You line up out there. You got my respect. I'm gonna give you credit for just being on that side. Now I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna handle it, but I'm gonna give you credit for making the team.
Mr. Taylor, let's clarify the question a little bit more then. What defense did you fear the most? Was it the Steelers? Was it the Cowboys? What was the hardest defense for you to face as a wide receiver?
Green Bay. Green Bay will put you in the hospital. They had the Herb Adlers and them guys, and they would literally put you in the hospital. So when you went to play Green Bay, you just had to buckle it up and off. Because the left Eagles were pretty tough too. They make you bleed, and so you just had to take that and go in there, knowing that you're gonna probably end up for a day bleeding somewhere, and then make the play. That's what we did. So I mean, my head all screwed up, but I made the catch.
Thank you very very much. Let's go. We got time for one more question. Let's go to Cut Bank. Cut Bank. Oh, you know what? I gotta unmute you guys. I muted you guys. Sorry.
What was your favorite sport in high school?
What was my favorite
sport in high school?
My favorite sport. Well, I did in Texas. You do everything. You never stop. You just start one Friday in August, and you just go. You never stop. Because I played basketball, baseball, football. I ran track. I did it all, man. But it was a learning thing for me because I got to meet different people, and we would take our high school team over to Dallas to AAA schools or 5A schools, bigger schools than where we were, and we work out against those guys to help us improve our team. So then we go to SMU, we do the college thing. So we were all over here. Had a great coach, we knew everybody, so we got us in everywhere.
And Mr. Taylor, playing high school sports and little league sports, what character quality do you think it taught most?
Say it again now.
Playing high school sports, what character quality do you think you learned most from playing sports? Because I think sports are not everyone plays them, but I think sports are a very powerful way to learn character qualities, especially at a young age. What character quality do you think you learned most from sport at a young age?
Well, at a young age, you want to be accepted, and the way you approach your game, the way you walk on the field, and the way you prepare yourself for a particular game. Your teammates look at that, and they respect you a little bit more, and you're stronger as a teammate than you were before.
So again, students, that goes back to you heard them talk about preparation and respect. I mean, that goes back to, what we talked about earlier is how important preparation is in all elements of life, whether it's a broadcast that we're doing here or.
It's so easy to lose it. And I could point out a couple guys that might have lost their respect a little bit from their teammates, the TOs and guys like that. You just got to shut your mouth sometime and go out. We know you open, but be quiet, play the game. Respect your teammates.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. And Mr. Taylor, as I take notes throughout this, and two of the things that really stood out that I took notes about again is the passion and the love for doing something, and then obviously you talked a lot about being truthful in life, and is so much truthful that you told a student that you started playing football because of girls. But with that being said, is there anything that you would either like to reiterate that you already shared, or B, if there's something you haven't touched on with these students that you'd like them to know before, as we close out this program?
I tell you what, one thing I would like to say, especially these young people here, that I didn't know this was even here. I say, when he dropped us, say, this is where we're going. I go, what is it? You guys are rolling, man. I did a little research. I stopped by, talked to the front, but you don't call them principal. You guys are rolling, man. Come on. Yeah, that's great. I'm proud of you guys, man. And thanks for letting me come here and interrupt your day. Hope you take something away. Just a little bit, just one thing. That's all you got to do, man. That's just, hey, you know how easy it is to lie, right? Just don't do it. You don't do it, you ain't got to worry about it. You walk around the house, yeah. But if you get the lie back there, you walk slow and easy. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Thank you. I enjoyed being with you guys this morning, and the snow did not stop me. I could have called and said, hey, snow, I can't make it. No, because I'm going, man. I am going to be there. I'm going to meet you guys.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Taylor, on behalf of all the folks here at the Hall of Fame, you know them very well, from Joe Horgan to Dave Montz and all those folks that have been here for a number of years. Let me say thank you for taking time out of your busy day to meet with these students and making the trek through the snow. and making the trek there to DC. So we greatly appreciate it. Students across the country, I would like to say thank you. If you would, for a moment, unmute your microphones and join me in giving a warm round of applause.
Clap more, clap more, clap more.
Thank you very much, Newark. I appreciate the enthusiasm there. So with that being said, Mr. Taylor, thank you very much for your time. Thank you to Extreme Networks for helping to facilitate this and being an educational partner of the Pro Football Hall of Fames. Idea Public Charter Schools, again, thank you for opening your doors. I know Kester and Justin did a lot of work there, especially I know Kester did. Thank you very much for opening your doors. The students there for being so well prepared, having some great questions to kick the programs off, and thank everyone else. So we hope to see you in Canton, Ohio someday to see the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but if not, take care and we'll talk with you soon. This concludes the program. Thank you. Thank you, Charlie. That was perfect. I'll give you a call, Charlie.
Okay.
Okay. Kevin, Greg, you guys still there?
Yep.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Greg. Everything going well? Everything going well there?
We're good. Thanks.
Good.
I'll give you a call.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys. All right. Bye-bye.